listeners, my name is Blue, and today we're lost in Pesterquest. Again, because I'm not feeling too well and this is easier for me to record. Last time we did... Oop. Cursor going off the screen. Last time we did Terezi. Today we do Tavros. Volume 8, Route 1, Glimmering Gold and Cold Iron. You're enjoying a brisk, head-clearing walk in the Alternian moonlight when the plot comes screaming towards you. Literally, you don't even have time for introspection. No, Tavros! You turn your head to see a guy in a wheelchair whizzing down a nearby hill. He's got a phone in one hand, making it difficult for him to control his descent with the other. Tav! Abandon the phone! Don't let yourself get hurt, damn! You quickly rush over in time to see him hit a rock and go flying through the air with an impressive arc. Oh no. Ugh. You bring the fallen wheelchair over to him. He stares at you for a second, then pulls himself back into it with a grunt. Thank you, weird and ugly alien stranger. If we can come up with a voice for Tavros, we will. If not, oh well. Once you settled into the chair, you look over the boy you just helped. He's lanky and scrawny, except for his oversized horns, giving the impression of a boy going through very awkward puberty. His wheelchair is simple and flimsy, and looks like it's gone through a lot of wear and tear. Oh, introductively speaking, I should say that my name is Tavros. Tavros! As is now usual for you, the name sounds familiar, even though you're not sure any of your other friends mentioned him by name. You give him a proper greeting and then ask what happened, and he nods towards an old watchtower at the top of the hill. I was attempting to scale towards the tower to acquire a rare Fidugo monster, what is named Wolvelpine. I forgot how much of a nerd Tav is. It's ranked Aether Mythic Triple Rare class, which is one of the rarest of all, at least considering monsters that can be found in lower blood neighborhoods. But it appears to be tragically out of my reach, no matter how much I believe in my ability to pursue it. You don't know what Fiduspawn is? I just... troll language. But maybe you could help. You've wrangled a few monsters in your time. What? You know, you could help push them up the hill. Maybe fight some giant horrifying beasts. The usual. Wow, normally I'm expected to do everything myself. Always. The only other trolls that offer to help me are those who live too far away to actually do anything of consequence. Which is fine, I get it, but it's pretty useless to me. Anyway, no. What? I don't want your help, on account on if I take it, I will be weakening myself and failing to grow as a troll. Tavros! No! I will just have to try again and again and get grievously hurt in the process, probably. Don't worry. Boy. Tavros begins to wheel back towards the hill. You know how the story goes. You'll have to spend your entire evening convincing this poor troll boy that it's okay to accept help from others. You'll launch into a gentle pitch about how help from a friend can... Oh, well, if you say so, then I accept your help. Oh. That was easy. You follow Tavros up a hill, and when he reaches the steepest part, his wheels begin to lose traction. You step in behind him to give him the little push he needs. The two of you are successful in scaling the hill, and Tavros grins and taps his phone. Oh, it's a phone game? No real monsters involved? Holy shit, this is new to you. Yes, Wolvelpine now acquired. Thank you so greatly. Maybe the cartoons for regulars were right all along. And friendship truly is the greatest source of power to exist. Finally, someone who gets you! You ask if he wants a quick ride home. He tilts his head in confusion. I already have a ride. I'm sitting in it. No, not like that. You tell him it's hard to explain, just trust you on this one. Okay, let's go. With that, you grip his chair and focus your energy and zap on over to his hive. Whoa, are you magic? Yes. Awesome. Do you know any fairies? No. Shucks. Tavros glances around the room and you follow suit. Your eyes settle on an advertisement for the theatrical run of Pupa Pan. A pinch of special stardust is all it takes to fly. Brought to you by Her Emperor's Condescension's 19th favorite theater company. Reserved seating for high-bloods. Hecklers will be cold. Fuck that. The rest of the room is rather plain and sparsely decorated. The floor is scattered with messy gaming supplies. So, this is my hive. What do you think? Would you categorize this? Don't give me that fucking face. Would you categorize this pad as sufficiently cool? Baby, you don't gotta try with me. Just be yourself. You glance at a framed picture of a Fae trickster in booty shorts. Sure, yeah. This pad is cool as hell. Excellent, I hope you would. Your approval is most good to have. I thought you might be uninterested on account of me being boring and kind of sad. Aw, boring and sad kids are your favorite, you tell Tavros. Wait, that sounds terrible. Ignore that. You mean you relish in the opportunity to make people less sad. Oh, don't worry then, because I'm definitely sorrowful enough to satisfy. Also, I'm not great at talking either, so we at least have one point of failure in common. Wow, I'm really being called out. Thanks. Tavros flashes you a thumbs up and a wink. He pulls closer to you and one of his scattered cards crunches under a tread and gets stuck, necessitating a bit of finagling. You must admit, you're a little surprised by the wheelchair. Your experiences on Alternia would suggest their culture is not very kind to the disabled. Oh, it very isn't. There's a long story behind the fact of me being like this. Kanaya says not to talk about it because it hurts my self-esteem. Oh, okay, that's fine. You can turn your attention to some of his cards. Perhaps he can teach you... Well, if you insist, I will reveal to you my tragic backstory. Tavros is an oversharer and it doesn't take much. I feel that. I used to be more of a hardcore gamer who would do the extreme roleplays. And I had a friend, or I thought she was my friend, who I did Flarp with. Oh, you're familiar with Flarp. You're Curlish Whirlwind. Come to think of it, you got a great Flarp friend. Oh god, no. MC. Emma's par, I am begging you. Come to think of it, you've got a great Flarp friend who he might love to meet. Well, I don't play anymore. Because this old friend of mine did a very bad thing to me, resulting in a chain of revenge that was very tragic. Essentially, the story is that I was thrown off a cliff psychically and became heavily injured, which resulted in my legs not working. Oh, God, that sounds terrible. The culprit continues to hassle me sometimes in ways which are supposedly remorseful, but mostly continue to make me feel bad. For instance, trying to make me learn how to climb stairs or fight better, or telling me I'm useless and awful because I can't. Although she also sent me this four-wheeled device which helps me to not be cold. So that's nice, I guess. Although maybe she wouldn't have done it if Kanaya didn't say to. I don't know, she's hard to understand. Sometimes very nice, and other times extremely not nice. And I can't figure out how she truly feels about me. Wow, this girl Tavros is talking about seems like a real piece of work. You sure are glad none of your friends are like anything like that. The irony in this. Yeah, maybe it's best to not think about her. Actually, Kanaya was right. Why don't I teach you how to play? Tavros! Tavros freezes up instinctively. Oh no, that's her. The one who injured me. Oh, no. Your spine ice is over. You recognize that telltale exaggerated call. But how can this be? How can your dear, sweet, precious friend Vriska have done such a horrible thing to... Okay, yeah, no, this tracks. Maybe she did do one thing wrong. I'm glad MC isn't delusional. But why? This isn't like the other kids she killed. You know Tavros is violent and volatile. She had to be to survive. But to harass Tavros after the fact instead of just feeding him to her luces? It doesn't make sense. You feel sick to your stomach. Hey Tavros, you haven't been answering my messages. We need to talk. Her voice comes from outside the window as it moves around the perimeter of the house. You glance at Tavros' stricken face as you hear the sound of keys jingling in a lock. Fuck, she has keys to his hive? Tavros groans and leans back in his chair. Vriska barges into the respite block, then freezes up. Oh, hey. Hey, you say with an awkward wave. Vriska seems uncomfortable. I didn't know you knew this dork. It's a friendship in progress. Tavros has told you some things about their past together. Of course he has. Okay, listen. I know it sounds bad, because it is, and I get that, okay? Way back when, it was less than a sweep ago, I was part of this flirt campaign that went way off the rails, and Tavros ended up getting thrown off a cliff. It was basically my fault. But that's all in the past now. Things are better now. I hooked Tavros up with the sweet wheelchair and everything. It's not that sweet. Shut up, Tavros. I'm talking about how terrible I feel about hurting you. Tavros cringes, and you try to intercede on his behalf. Why is Vriska here? Oh, right. I'm here to extend an olive branch. Very magnanimously so, if you ask me. Trezzy and I are getting the band back together. Not for Flarp, obviously. That ship has sailed. But we're going to whip this planet into shape, and we need all the help we can get. You've spent enough time moping around uselessly. It's time for some action. You're in, right? No. What do you mean, no? I mean, I don't want to do anything exciting or dangerous like that. And especially because you're going to be involved, I don't think it'd be good for me to also be. Oh, come on! Things are totally square between us, Tavros. We all got hurt. Besides, I'm just trying to help you live up to your potential. You could be somebody. You could finally start living up to your legacy. I don't want to be somebody, at least not your kind of somebody. Tough luck, Torador. None of us get a choice. If nothing changes by the time your rites of maturation roll around, you're screwed. The drones will kill you in an instant. Vriska turns to you, her eyes wide, her fists trembling. Her frustrated glare barely conceals the desperation beneath. I mean, you agree with me, right? Oh shit! Tavros needs to shape up. He needs us. It's time we put the past behind us and move on. I'm just trying to help him. She leans closer. It's obvious she wants you to back her up. Oh no! You know, I'm used to this. I'm the mediator. Usually. But, like, I hate being the mediator. Because this is Tavros' route, we're gonna start with Tavros first, and we're gonna see where that takes us. You take a step closer to Tavros and Vriska visibly deflates. I'm sorry. Come on, Blue. Oh, right. Name. You can't seriously be on his side. Yes, you can be, and you are. You think you understand now. You see how Vriska took her suffering and bitterness and passed it along. You see how under beastly tutelage she learned to sink her fangs into her prey and tell herself she's doing it for their own good. In these two you see a microcosm of Alternia, of hurting kids, until finally the buck stops at the kindest or weakest among them. So no matter how much sympathy you have for her, you can't stand idly by and let Vriska continue this cycle of hurt. You tell Vriska to look at Tavros, really look at him, and ask herself if her help has done anything for him. Isn't this the kind of suffering that she and Terezi want to prevent? Right now, the best thing she can do for Tavros is to leave him alone. Leave him alone? You don't get it. None of you do. If I leave him alone, he's toast. Seriously, how have you not figured that out by now? Have you seen what this planet is like? You think we can just flip a switch and everything and fix everything overnight? He's a worthless loser living in a world that hates losers. And if it doesn't change, he's going to die a sad and pathetic death. And you and Kanaya and everyone else, you're just enabling him. When he croaks, it's going to be on your head, not mine. So if you'd rather hang out with Tavros and his make-believe fairyland, be my guest, but some of us are still going to be living here in the real world. You and Vriska spend a while staring at one another. All you can muster is a look of pity, which only seems to incense her further. Her face scrunches up and then goes steely and flat. Her voice is icily calm. You two have your fun. I'm out. Vriska slams the door shut as she leaves. Tavros exhales a long sigh of relief. Well, that went pretty well for an encounter with Vriska, all things considered. I only feel somewhat terrible about who I am. Slowly, gently, you place a comforting hand on Tavros' shoulder and tell him he deserves better than this. It's not his fault. Vriska is difficult. Yeah, Kanaya says that too. I sometimes almost believe her when she does. The room is silent except for a faint wriggling noise coming from some of the balls on Tavros' floor. You don't know what else to say. Would you, enjoy playing some Fiduspawn with me, perhaps? As a manner of distraction. Oh, fuck yes, you tell him. Let's spawn some Fiduses? Yeah. Your FLIPE experience inured you to Alternian game design, so you're only mildly nauseated when Tavros shows you how the physical version of Fiduspawn works. Chitinous purple critters explode from gooey orbs and infest plushies before bursting out in the form of large monsters with more limbs than you're comfortable with. Also, you have a handful of cards which boost their attributes or allows you to interfere with your opponent's monsters. There's a lot to keep track of here. Before too long, the room is full with chittering purple monstrosities and queasy-looking host plushies on the verge of birthing even more abominations. You are so lost. But you think you're winning? Your creatures appear to be doing a better job of preying on his host plushes and spawning more of themselves. You've got a meter in a corner that keeps going up while his goes down. That's good, right? You think it's good, at least where victory is concerned. But you are more concerned with the dejected look on Tavros' face. He doesn't seem to be giving the game his all. You ask him if he's doing okay. No. Oh, okay. He just came out with it and said it. My fun has been stemmed, I think. by my thoughts about Vriska. He wheels himself over to the window and looks despondently out. I used to like Vriska a lot, you know, and admire her for her many qualities that were good, such as being very confident or having skills at games. But now I just hate her. Or feel like I should hate her, but instead do not feel those feelings. In their place, I feel very conflicted and bad about myself and wonder if there's something wrong that I can't feel as angry as I should. Or make myself to become strong enough to talk to her properly about my feelings. It's just a big mess. You glance at the posters lining Tavros' walls. Sprightly fairy girls with confident smiles, long messy hair, and blue color schemes. The resemblance to Vriska is uncanny but superficial. She's never going to be like the girl from his posters. That's just not who Vriska is. But for a sad, hurt boy who likes to dream, she must seem so painfully close. This is a problem too big for you to untangle right now. You need to redirect Tavros' thoughts. You close your eyes and ask your intuition. What should you do? Let's help him fly. From the darkness, you reach into your muddled memories and catch a glint of glimmering gold. When you open your eyes, Pupil's Pan stares back at you. Unlike him, you don't have special stardust. But you think you might have something better. You tell Tavros you'll be right back. Sort of. The now familiar Prosperian spires greet you. You swoop through the shiny architecture until you find those towers that seem to house the dreaming children. Sure enough, Tavros' dream self can be found in one of the towers, nestled comfortably in a Rukupakun. You poke him on the cheek, no response. You give him a little shake, nothing. With a sigh, you rear back your hand and slap him hard. Tavros remains asleep. He's practically comatose. Why? This feels so off. Karkat is awake and Tavros isn't. Something about that is just wrong. It's all wrong. How can he help Tavros under these circumstances? Oh. I didn't do that. You need him to wake up. Why won't he? Tavros yawns as he rises barely from his slumber and squints around. He crawls out of the Rukupakun and reaches over to the ramp beside it with an instinctual motion. His hands find no wheelchair and he tumbles over and then quickly rises and realizes with a start that he's floating in midair. Whoa, what? Surprise! You inform Tavros that this is the mystical world of dreams. That's part of the game he was supposed to play one day, but now isn't going to. Maybe, probably, you'll be honest, you still don't know exactly how this works. But you do know that this is a land where he can fly. That seems highly improbable that such a world would exist. Or especially that I would be allowed to enter it and fly freely around with no repercussions. It just seems like a thing that would never eventually happen to me. Does it not? But it is happening, you tell him. You prove it by pinching his arm. He flinches. Why did you just assault me? It's a thing. Pinching is... okay. This is a cultural misunderstanding. But the fact that he can feel pain should prove that this place is real. Or at least as real as a magic dream world can be. I see. My arms does certainly hurt in a realistic manner, as well as my feelings do for the uncalled for attack from a friendly individual. Oh, for fuck's sake. You tell Tavros to stop worrying about that and start unworrying about how he can fly now. Oh, yeah. With unsteady movements, Tavros begins to circle his dream room. He holds his hands out as he sails around, floating upwards, then dipping down. He seems to get the hang of it quickly, and as he does, his face cracks into a warm smile. Whoa, oh. Oh, this feels really amazing! At your invitation, Tavros follows you out the window and sees Prospect stretching towards him. His eyes go all starry. I can really explore all this area? He can, you tell him, probably. Just don't go barging into anyone's houses. Hell, okay. Tavros does loops and twirls, pirouettes around spires, and weaves through throngs of Prosperian civilians. He hoots and hollows, the anxious crescendo in his voice nearly absent. The sound echoes among the golden towers and rebounds back at you, a cacophony of childlike exhilaration. You swoop alongside him, buoyed by his excitement. And the two of you begin to race each other around the planet. You run out of energy before Tavros does, but eventually he comes down from his high. He floats lazily beside you, upside down, his mohawk hanging down into his face. His eyes are locked on the sky and clouds, and he's wearing a wide, if oddly blank grin. Hey, I want to thank you for doing this for me, allowing me to feel this freedom and joy. It really means a lot. You grin and give him a thumbs up. You're glad you could help. Yeah, me too. You glance up at the clouds. How long have you been here? You figure it's probably time to head back to the real world. You tell him you'll teleport back and then wake him up. What? Oh no. Don't wake me up, please. I don't want to go back to that life. When I could spend my days here, forever feeling blissful and happy for once. You pause. That's not the response you were expecting, although you suppose you should have seen this coming. What about his friends, his responsibilities in the waking world? What happens when the drones come knocking? Well, those are some pertinent questions which I don't care about, though. This is where I'm happy, and where I belong. That's what you wanted, right? To help me be happy? Right. Then your work here is done. He smiles at you, and you feel like you should smile back, but there's a hint of sadness behind his eyes that gives you a pause. It's like he's waiting for you to take charge and tell him off for choosing escapism, waiting for you to make the hard decision he doesn't have the guts to make. But that's not the kind of person you are. If he'd rather spend most of his time asleep, that's good enough for you. Given the planet he lives on, you can't blame him. So you give him a little wave and vanish into the ether of cannon. By the time he works up the nerve to say something, you're already gone. I don't like this ending. Stay grounded. From the darkness, you reach into your muddled memories and catch a glint of cold iron. When you open your eyes, Pupa Pan stares back at you. He would have you believe that faith is all it takes to fly, but you'd think Tavros could use something a little more material. You put a gentle hand on his shoulder and ask him what you can do to help him spread his wings. His metaphorical wings, that is. It's not like he could even sprout real ones. The thought is very absurd. Tavros sighs. I just wish I could live more independently, I guess. To take charge of my life and become less under Vriska's thumb. You think Tavros could use some better friends. Real friends. I do have some. Nepeta is very kind to me, often. Gamzee and I like to throw down sick rhymes, and Kanaya tries to help me with Vriska. But there's not a lot they can do when we live very far away. And as nice as my Lucis is, he's unable to help me with all my issues due to his small size limiting him to only moving and carrying small objects to me when I require them. The simple fact is that I didn't build my hive with the expectation of one day using a four-wheeled device to navigate it. Can Tavros move to a better hive? Could you help him with that? No. As a bronze, the stipend I receive is not enough to cover such things. Even this four-wheeled device, which is highly basic compared to some high-blood models, would have cost me over a wipe's worth of saving. A few changes are available to me, economically speaking, especially if I want to not alert the drones to my unsuitedness for troll expectations. You see, if money's the issue, that's not something you can help with, at least not directly. But you might know others who can. You tell Tavros you're going to step out for a moment to fetch a mutual friend. He seems briefly surprised when you return with Kanaya. You guess you don't blame him. This strikes you as a pretty rare pairing, conversationally speaking. Oh, Kanaya. It's nice to see you, in person, unexpectedly. Oh, my hive is terrible looking, sorry, but hi. You look nice. Yes, I do. How are you faring? Has my advice regarding the construction of an imaginary friend helped aid your self-esteem? Kanaya! Well, I haven't really got to try it yet, so no, it hasn't, I guess. Kanaya suppresses a sigh. Okay. Well, let's get directly to business. I've brought some materials with to renovate your hive. Oh! Please, advise us as to how best to redesign the place to suit your needs. Tavros' eyes water up and he sniffs, leaning forward in his chair. Really? You would do that for me? Despite it taking a large portion of time and effort and presumably money as well? I don't really use my stipend on much besides fabric. And I intend to twist Vriska's arm until she offers a portion of her flarping treasure to foot the bill too. And of course I do it for you. Any less would be a rejection of my helpful sensibilities. Kanaya says it with such a neutral tone and straight face, as if there's nothing remarkable about it, but Tavros nevertheless breaks into a grin. Wow, thanks. Okay, give me time to develop ideas on how to properly jack this hive up, and deliver the most utterly dope and pimped up changes. This is going to be so great. You give Tavros the requested time to begin the work in earnest. You weren't sure what to expect, but the construction process proved smoother than anticipated. Kanaya brings a set of alien devices, which he claims to have borrowed from a sea-dwelling friend of hers. My bet is peppery. One converts raw materials into a strange substance that reminds you of fruit gushers. Kanaya fells trees with her chainsaw and feeds them into the machine, and before long you have a trove of gusher things. The other device expends the gushers to modify buildings. It has a holographic click-and-drag interface, much like The Sims played in real life. You find this construction software to be incredibly handy, and also eerily familiar, but honestly you find everything eerily familiar these days. Yes, it is very convenient. Home construction has been a real important part of troll culture for as long as history remembers. Most do not know why, although to me the reason is obvious. Preparation for the game, which we will now no longer be playing due to outside interference. Wait, she knows about that? Yes. I figured out what was going on a day or two after you visited me, but I thought it was prudent not to get particularly dramatic about it at all. That was very thoughtful of her. Yeah, I try. Kanaya finishes feeding logs into her first device and begins to manipulate Tavros' hive with the other. Together, you are a clockwork team. Tavros provides directions, Kanaya implements them with her stellar sense of design, and you provide moral support by standing around and looking cute. Okay, yes. Nudge that shelf over to the left. Yeah, like that. Actually, wait. Actually, right. Further. Okay, no, go back. A bit more. That's almost good. Now make it a little tad higher. Yes, no, lower. Oh, no. There, right there, and yes, perfect, I think. Okay, you can actually go back to where it first was. In the end, it takes until the next day to finish construction, which is actually a great time. In the end, it takes until the next day to finish construction, which is actually a great time. You were expecting to have to step forward once or twice for the sake of narrative brevity. But with the Alternian build tools, Tavros' hive is swiftly renovated. It's far more spacious than it once was. With ramps and rails aplenty, under Tavros' guidance, you widen the hallways, lower the curtains, revamp bathrooms. It's like a brand new house. You don't have a ribbon to cut in celebration, so Tavros summons some bizarre Fiduspawn creature to shoot confetti all around the entrance to the hive. It's all gross and sticky and you hate every second of it, but he's having fun. After that, Tavros spends a while just exploring the hive. He rolls himself through each block, awed by the ease with which he can navigate the space. By the time he returns to his respite block, his grin is radiant. You take it he likes the new place. Oh, yes. This pad is now genuinely frigid. It makes me more confident. Like the world is my bevalved jeweled container. Like I could say to Vriska, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me, biatch. Okay, I won't say that probably, but I could. Actually, maybe I will say that. As well as plenty of other deliriously rude things, which I long have avoided saying. Okay, that's probably enough, you tell him. Kanaya is staring icily at him, but he doesn't seem to notice. You suggest that it's a good time to settle down. The sun's going to be rising pretty soon. Right. While we still have some moonlight, would you like to stay for a while, Kanaya? Play some games with us? Oh, no, that's quite alright. I'm afraid I have duties to attend to at home. I left a dress in the oven. Kanaya blinks and maintains 4 points. It's made out of clay, you see. I'm getting experimental. Oh, that makes sense. Well, goodbye. She smiles at Tavros and shoots you a poignant glance. You take it as your cue to place a hand on her shoulder, concentrate on her hive, and send her back in a flash of light. When she's gone, Tavros rolls up to you and nudges you in the hip. So, regarding Kanaya, this could perhaps be me misreading the situation, but when I reach deep inside and tap into the marvelous power of the self-esteem, it tells me that I'm very right and smart. Did you see the way she was smiling at me? And almost a way to suggest amorous inclinations. Eh? Eh? He waggles his eyebrows furiously in your direction. Oh jeez. You tell Tavros that's just what, friendship looks like. She's not his type. Trust me, you say. Drat. But, oh well. I think there's a saying about this, that the sea has many fish in it. Now that I'm feeling better, I think perhaps I will one day go fishing for a quadrant or 2. Well, it's a start, and it's going to take some time for this kid to figure out what genuine self-esteem is like. But just like the Prospedian clouds part to reveal brilliant sky and blue, you think Tavros is on the verge of seeing the sun. The moon? This metaphor will work better on Earth. Tavros can be more than he is, and he doesn't need to change to do it. When he offers you a smile, there's a spark of compassion behind it that tells you he's already worth the world. All he ever needed was someone to believe in him. And money. He also needed money. So, would you like to perhaps celebratorily play a round or 2 of Fiduspawn with me? I'm feeling much more prepared to enjoy a game, and perhaps think that this time I will proceed to crush you with my incredible might as a Fiduspawn breeder. Except, I mean that in a nice way, like that of a friendly challenge. If you'll accept. The word friend in the sentence is all you need it to hear. That is a very accurate face. I was certainly out of it, and I think you could tell, but that's okay. Oh, Tavros. I like Tavros. He's a nerd. And he just needs some friends. Like, you know, the good ending said. I am curious about siding with Vriska. Actually, much like I did with FriendSim, I will be going back and exploring the routes that I did not did not explore in their respective episodes. So we will be seeing that later. We will be seeing every ending. I apologize for how out of it I seemed, but I hope you enjoyed the video regardless. And that's it for today, stars. If you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already to join our wonderful galaxy. Comment down below and I'll get back to you in some way or another, and I will see you for our next adventure. Remember, we're all made of the same cosmic dust, so be nice. Kate, love you, bye!